It's 7 o'clock. Tracy's the clerk until I sign in.
Yep. So you're the clerk, Tracy, until we'll commence our meeting. Good evening, and thank you for tuning into tonight's council meeting for Monday, June the 8th, 2020. I would like to thank Rogers TV for airing tonight's meeting. Indeed, continue to be challenging times. No one is immune to the challenges that continue to face our community, both here at the local level and the greater worldwide community. I ask that we take a moment and think of the racial problems that have been and continue to fester in our world today. We all have a role to play in society. Be kind, be patient, be respectful of each other. Every person deserves to be treated the same way. Thank you. And Councillor Gerber, you're going to read the land acknowledgement, please.
Yep, got it. Thank you. We have gathered in Wilmot Township on the traditional territory of the neutral Anishinaabe, Haudenosaunee, and Mississauga peoples. We also want to acknowledge the importance of the Dish with One Spoon Covenant, a peace agreement made between Indigenous nations before the Europeans arrived. It characterizes our collective responsibility to each other and Mother Earth. We should take only what we need, leave enough for others, and keep the dish clean. By acknowledging this covenant and the First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples, we are reminded of our important connection to this land where we live, learn, and work together as a community.
Thank you, Councillor Gerber. Are there any additions to the agenda? Seeing none, is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest under the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act? So first item is the minutes from previous meetings. The recommendation that the minutes of the following meetings be adopted as presented. Council meeting, May 25th, 2020. And that is moved by Councillor Fenning, Councillor Godek. Are there any comments, questions, omissions? Councillor Hallman.
Thanks for the mayor to Mr. Okrafka. I just wanted to follow up and see if, just reading my note here, when we can expect to get your comment on the, if you've connected with Woolwich yet.
Go ahead, Mr. Okrafka.
Through you, Mayor Armstrong, to Councillor Hallman. We have connected. Again, I don't have it in front of me.
That's okay.
But I can certainly provide that comment back to you. Basically, the nature of that hearing was related to a holding provision that had been in place they were seeking to have lifted. So it was not a brand new application that was under, it was an older application and so there are some unique circumstances to that application.
Sorry, I'll just through the mayor, I'll clarify. It was about a policy that was mentioned by the presenter at the last meeting. That was what okay, just clarifying that. That's okay.
Yeah, my recollection, again, is the
That's okay, we can connect.
It was related to the decision of LPAT related to the Jigs Hollow pit.
Okay, thank you. That's I just wanted to follow up on that.
Anyone else have any comments, corrections, omissions? Seeing none, we will call for the vote. We'll start with Councillor Hallman, Ward 1. In favor. Ward 2. Ward 3. Yay or nay? Yay. Ward 4A and 4B. That is carried. So the next item is the consent agenda. We are now into the consent agenda. If members of council have any questions and want to remove an item from the consent agenda, please indicate so now, as we will not take questions on consent items unless the items are requested to be removed from the regular agenda. Councillor Hallman.
I just had a follow-up question, and it's not a debatable issue, so I'm not sure with that. It was just a question through you, Mayor, to Ms. Locke regarding just, I'm really excited about the potential of the statues, and I was just hoping for some more details on if there was any further news on when we'd be looking at that in the future, if it was still planning to happen this calendar year, if possible, or if this is something we're going to be deferring completely for another year.
Ms. Locke.
Through your Mayor Armstrong to Councillor Hallman, the PM statue unveiling, as you know, is deemed for June 20th, and they were looking at possibly a fall unveiling, and if not, then we would have to defer it till 2021, unfortunately.
Okay, thanks for clarifying that. That's the only thing I had.
No problem.
Okay, the recommendation that report numbers CK 2020-002, COR 2020-15, COR 2020-17, ILS 2020-10, and PFRS 2020-04 be received for information purposes. Moved by Councillor Fenning and seconded by Councillor Gerber. All in favor? I see 5 hands. Perfect. Thank you. Next item is Facilities and Recreation Services Report for emergency procurement for the pool. And I'm assuming that would be Ms. Jackson. You're
You can hear me okay?
yes, Ms.
Hello?
Jackson, if you could highlight the report for us, please.
Can you hear me?
Um,
Hello?
I hear you now. You don't appear to be moving. You seem to be doing a ventriloquist act right at the moment.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
I can.
Hello?
There,
There, can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Sorry, through you, Mr. Mayor. My internet's a little patchy, so small town problems, you know. Yes, that would be, would you like a summary of the report?
Yes, please.
Sure. So this is an emergency procurement report for the pool tile grouting project. This project was on the 2020 capital list and scheduled to be done in August and September. And it was a 5 to 6 week shutdown of the pool, which would have resulted in fairly decent loss of revenue. So while we were closed for the COVID initially, the incident, we decided that we would try to move that project up if we could get a contractor available to do the work. And we were able to procure this project. And the pool basin has been, can you hear me still? Yes, okay. I'm getting your internet is unstable message across my screen. Sorry, folks. So we were able to procure the first part of the project, which is the pool basin, and we drained the pool. We have regrouted it. That project, part of the project is complete. And there is a second phase to the project, which would be the pool decks surrounding both of the pools. And we are still considering looking at that project for this summer if we keep the pools closed a little bit longer. But under the terms, under the procurement bylaw, the treasurer and the CAO have the ability to award this type of project in an emergency situation. And in order to prevent a further loss of revenue, this project move forward. So be happy to take any questions.
So if you have any questions, raise your hand. That's the little blue one. Unless your own hand is really cold. Councillor Fisher, you have a question.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Armstrong. I think it was a great move taking advantage of this COVID case, but I think my question is basically about the announcement today about the splash pads. Is there any projected time frame when that might be opening?
Through Mayor Armstrong to Councillor, an hour after the announcement was made, I was on a Parks Director meeting with the Region of Waterloo, and they are preparing a memo to go to the CAO group tomorrow for discussion around timing. So we hope to have further information. Despite the province's release, we have lots of preparation to do before we can open any of the facilities that were listed. So we'll be working on a schedule as to when we can reopen some of our spaces, and we'll get that to council when we have more information. Sorry, it's a little vague, but we've got lots to prepare.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson. Yeah, it's the difficulty is that the province makes these announcements, and everybody expects everything to pop open the next day or two. And there, as is stated, there's a lot of prep work for this. So hopefully everybody will be patient, allow staff to get things ready for the people coming back. No other questions? Oh, Councillor Gerber.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Armstrong. Through you, Mayor Armstrong, to Ms. Jackson. Yeah, and sorry, it's in line with the province announcement as well, and I know we're all just sort of reading it for the first time rather quickly. It also referred to sort of all swimming pools, right? So I know I still think I still think we need to get this done, and I still think it's going to be advantageous to do so now. Because you mentioned that there's still a lot of work to do before we would, it just doesn't happen overnight. But this would impact a little bit on, as far as our timelines, like it'll take us a little longer to open the pool now than it would otherwise, although I suspect there's less pressure on an indoor pool than an outdoor facility right now.
Through the mayor, yes to all of your questions. A lot more preparation for the indoor pool. As you can imagine, walking through a retail store, the types of things that they have to work out as far as how people move through their space. The WRC is a large facility that we've had a couple of initial meetings about how we would get people moving through that space safely. We've been on numerous meetings with the region and the Life Saving Society and groups like that, who are trying to come up with protocols to be able to safely provide some services. Summer programming in the pools is a slower time. So the timing is actually relatively good as far as if we have to be delayed a little bit longer. We obviously, having just completed the grouting project, we have no water in the pool at the moment. So we certainly aren't opening Friday. We're likely going to be targeting later in the summer, just because we also have to onboard all of our lifeguarding staff again. We have to retrain them. We have to have the pools re-inspected by the health department, and they're going to be very busy inspecting all the pools that have been sitting empty. So outdoor facilities certainly would be the priority. Having said that, there are some recommendations around splash pads that require the potential for labor to supervise those spaces to help with physical distancing. So there are some cost factors that we have to look at and determine whether or not, how we can operate it should the region decide to move forward with opening them. Originally, if you recall, all of the facilities have been closed officially until June the 30th. So at this point, my expectation is that that is a likely time frame for some facilities to be able to be reopened. Things that are a little bit easier, like outdoor fields potentially, and splash pads, maybe. But again, there's lots of factors to consider. So the indoor pool will be a much longer process for sure before we can determine what works. Things like trying to figure out what types of lessons we can have that we don't have to have a staff person close to a child for example, how many people you can have at a public swim. There's all kinds of protocol to consider.
Thank you. So lots to do. Are there any other questions for Ms. Jackson?
My question was answered. Thank you.
Very good. So the recommendation is that report PFRS 2020-005 regarding emergency procurement for the pool tile grout project be received for information purposes only. Moved by Councillor Hallman and Councillor Fenning. No further questions? All in favor? 5 hands. Perfect. That is passed. So there's no correspondence or bylaws or notice of motions. Announcements. Anyone have any announcements? Raise your hands. Okay, we'll start with Councillor Fanning, then Councillor Gerber, and I'm assuming Councillor Hallman's going to put her little blue hand up. Okay.
Thank
Go
you.
ahead,
Mayor.
Councillor Fanning.
Thank you, Mayor Armstrong. So it was a really great pleasure for me to go to the Wilmot Summer Market. It opened this past Wednesday, and they had a really great assortment of vendors. I hope that will grow over the season. They're doing a great job keeping everybody distanced, and it was really nice to be out and see so many people attending as well in the great weather, and yeah, it was great. Sadly, I just want to comment on, the Black Lives Matter, the rally that was held, the march on Friday. I wish I could have attended. For me personally, it's something that is very close to my heart. I see the reality of the discrimination that's faced by people whose skin is darker shades every day. The men that work on our farm experience it every day. There is an entire system that is stacked against them. And I could tell you all kinds of stories that illustrate just how that system is stacked against them. So I was very proud of our region for standing up and speaking up. And that gave me a lot of hope. So I hope that out of this, we can all be better, all come out stronger. And of course, it's Pride Month. So we can't march, but we're there anyways, supporting.
Thank you, Councillor Fanning. And I agree, we're all there wanting to reduce the racism and stuff that goes on, no matter color, skin, or anything. So we agree with you. And I heard that the market was extremely successful. And I think some people even sold out, so that's good. So, Councillor Gerber.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Armstrong. Just 2 announcements related actually to connected to the high school in our community, Waterloo Oxford. We are happy to be celebrating our grad class of 2020. We'll be handing out grad lawn signs Wednesday and Thursday at the school, Wednesday noon to 4 and Thursday 2 to 6. The grads have all the information and staff have all the information. We appreciate the assistance of the township to make sure that we're doing it all properly and following all the necessary protocols to make sure we're doing so in a safe manner. So the school community is looking forward to that. And it's also exciting also on Thursday to have the opportunity as part of the school and as part of the Township of Wilmot to attend along with Ms. Jackson our first official meeting for the artificial turf field project, the tender of which has gone out and been accepted. The tender has gone out before and not been accepted. So we're excited to see that project moving ahead, and the community should see some work on that in the summer. And whatever happens in school in the fall, when we do get there, there should be an artificial turf field for the school and for the community to enjoy through the fall and the rest of our sports seasons together. So that's exciting.
Thank you, Councilor Gerber, and I'm glad to hear that the grads are getting some kind of recognition. They certainly lucked out. 2020 has not been a good year for that. So I certainly appreciate the school coming together and recognizing those young people that worked so hard for 4 years. And Councilor Hallman.
Thanks through the mayor. Councillor Fenning mentioned one of the things that I was going to bring up. So just wanted to show my support for our community in that way today as well. And I also wanted to just mention and thank the Wilmot Egg Society as they made that difficult announcement today that they will no longer be continuing with the fall fair this year. And of course, doesn't mean that the hard work didn't go into it, and it wasn't that we don't value and appreciate everything that they've done. And we look forward to seeing it again next year. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Hallman. Yes, like I said, 2020, unfortunately, I think is a lost year, and it's really extremely disappointing that people aren't able to do what they love to do and showcase what they want to showcase. So it's very unfortunate. Thank you. I see no further comments or announcements. So next item is the confirmatory bylaw, and that is recommendation that bylaw number 2020-18 to confirm the proceedings of council at its meeting held on June 8, 2020 be introduced, read a first, second, and third time, and finally passed in open council. I have a mover and a seconder. Moved by Councilor Gerber, seconded by Councilor Gordick. All in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hands. Perfect. That is passed. The next item is an adjournment. Its recommendation is that we do now adjourn to meet again at the call of the mayor. Moved by Councilor Fisher, Councilor Gordick. And I want to thank everybody for those who tuned in to watch and for those who participated. Thank you. And I think we went relatively smoothly for a new operation. So, and we got everybody up on the screen. So that's great. So thank you very much. So all in favor of the adjournment? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people. Perfect. Thank you very much. That is passed. And have a good night and be safe. Thank you.